Welcome to Irate Classic. Today we're going to be talking about WrestleMania 4. Some things to know about WrestleMania 4 is this was a tournament for the WWF Championship because Andre sold the title to Ted DiBiase. Another thing to note is that there's going to be some tournament matches, some non-tournament matches, and it gets pretty crazy. So without further ado, before we get started, I don't know what I was going to say there, but before we get started, another thing to know about this is where Hulk Hogan is at his worst, I think, where he says, hey, I'm not going to put over anybody as the face of the company unless I help them become the face of the company, and you'll see what I mean later on, and I'm going to talk about this moment where Hulk Hogan basically makes Macho Man moment about himself. This match was a battle royal, which I rated a 3 out of 10, and it was a non-tournament match, which Bad News Brown won by a last eliminating Bret Hart. Funny thing is, 2 Battle Royals in WrestleMania, and Bret Hart was the final one eliminated in both of them. But that's not what we're here to talk about. The match itself was decent. I rated it a 3 out of 10, but they made us look stupid because George the Animal Steel was supposed to be in the match, never entered the ring, and they said he got eliminated. He never stepped 1 foot in the ring. And then he eliminated Jim the Anvil Neidhart, and they did nothing with it. And Gorilla Monsoon made us all look stupid. That took down a point by itself. George the Animal Steel never got in the ring to wrestle, and he was a competitor in the match. And then he just got thrown out. You assaulted my intelligence, and then you're going to be like, nah, he never entered the ring. He got eliminated. That's crazy. Match was a first round tournament match between Ted DiBiase when he defeated Jim Duncan in a match that I rated a 4 out of 10. I thought it told a good story. It was just too short for me to get real into it. I thought they had a real good back and forth. Andre cost Jim Duncan the win, but ultimately I gave it a 4 out of 10 because I thought it was decent. I didn't think it was like the best match of all time. Ted DiBiase and Jim Duncan just, really worked each other in this match, and I thought they worked real well together. And that is ultimately what I gave the points to. The next match in the tournament was Don Morocco defeating Dino Bravo by disqualification because Dino Bravo pushed the referee away in front of him. And I gave this match a 7 out of 10. I thought it went back and forth enough. It just looked good in the ring, and I enjoyed it. And I think that this should be remembered as one of the WrestleMania classics. Even though it's not what you think would be a good match, it ended up being decent to good. This WrestleMania really sets the expectation of what to come in the later years. I think that this is the first real great WrestleMania, if I'm going to say so myself, that we had. Out of the original 3, this one beats them all by a lot. And this one match told a great story in the ring, even if it ended by disqualification. And overall, I enjoyed it thoroughly throughout the 4 minutes it lasted. Next match is a tournament match, and it's Greg the Hammer Valentine defeating Ricky Steamboat by pinfall. This match, in my opinion, I gave an 11 out of 10. An 11 is what I meant to say. And this was by far one of the greatest matches of this whole night. And honestly, I thought it was very cool. And they went back and forth. They had a good fight. And this match lasted 9 minutes. And through those 9 minutes, I was invested in what happened to both of them. I think it told a great story. And this should be considered a WrestleMania classic. If anything, I don't think people talk about this match. You should. This match is better than the main event, in my opinion, of the show. And it's better than most of Randy Savage's matches in the whole show, but that's just my opinion, and I think that overall, this one match is worth watching the whole show for. I think this whole show is worth waiting for, watching for. It's definitely something I would recommend watching. If you don't want to watch all of it, I would suggest watching this one match. But it's a whole tournament, so watching just one of the match won't tell the full story. So watching this all the way through, you get some very good stuff, some very bad stuff, nowhere in between. This match is a tournament match, and it's Randy Savage versus Butch Reed, where Randy Savage defeats Butch Reed by pinfall. This match, I give a 2 out of 10. I thought it was somewhat enjoyable. It was kind of bad all the way through, in my opinion, because it was just Macho Man getting his butt handed to him and somehow winning. I know that's what I noticed. If there's a thing about these older WrestleManias, it's dominance by the heel or face through the whole match, and then all of a sudden the bad guy or a heel wins, or sometimes the face wins after getting his butt handed to him. That's basically what I've noticed throughout this. There's a theme here. And guess what? I also know that there was another theme here, and that will come up later on in the show. And I'll explain that, but listen, I think this show has some good redeeming qualities, and out of all the matches, this is just one of the bad ones. But it doesn't affect the score because a lot of it is extremely good, in my opinion. And then there's just some stuff I did and didn't like, But this is one of the matches that, stopped this from being one of the best WrestleManias by far. This tournament match was One Man Gang defeating Bam Bam Bigelow via countout. This match I gave a 0 out of 10 to. I thought this was one of the worst matches by far so far. It just didn't tell a great story. In the ring, it could have been better. They were going back and forth. I would have gave this way higher, but the way it ended is he was so distracted by attacking Slick instead of, actually focusing on the wrestling. He ended up getting counted out, and instead of trying to get in the ring, he just stood on the barricade trying to attack One Man Gang while he was getting counted out, Bam Bam Bigelow. And I thought that was real stupid, and ultimately, that's what I'm holding against it, the stupid finish to the match. This is by far one of the matches you should try to skip, but as I said, it's a whole tournament. These tournament matches you should watch, though. This one is the worst one by far, so far, out of the tournament matches. And I can't really recommend this, but I could say I recommend the whole show as a whole, but I just can't recommend watching this match. But since it's a part of the tournament, I guess you kind of have to, because it tells a story, And that's what I kind of like about it, but I can't give it any higher than a 0. This match in the tournament is Jake the Snake Robert versus Rick Rude, and this match ended in a time limit draw. 15-minute time limit draw. I gave this a 5 out of 10 because the match was good until the point where they did like 10 minutes in a headlock, just like in a arm choke for like half of the match. It was good up to that point, so I got it a 5. If they wrestled all the way through and it was back and forth, it would have been higher, but I can't give it any more than a 5 because it was real boring for a little bit, and then it picked up, and then the time limit draw happened, and you didn't get a decisive winner, which was kind of disappointing, kind of not, depending on how you look at things. And overall, I think it told the story, but that means the one-man gang got by into the next round. And you will see that this happens another time too, but we'll get to that after a non-tournament match. Out of the whole show, there's like 4 non-tournament matches, maybe 5 if I'm correct. This one could have been better than it was. That's all I'm saying. This match is the second non-tournament match, and it's the Ultimate Warrior defeating Hercules by pinfall. I gave this a match of 5 out of 10. Ultimately, I thought it was decent enough. They went back and forth through the whatchamacallit, the 4 minutes they had, and I thought it was an enjoyable enough match to give it a decent score. Now this WrestleMania by far has like a lot of, good matches. This is one of those ones I could recommend. It's something decent enough. If you don't want the best match, this match is half decent. This one should be remembered, but I feel like it's a little bit hated. I think it did a good job of showing what the Warrior could do, and I thought it was an entertaining match myself, because I like the back and forth aspect of this match. The in-ring stuff was good too between Hercules and Ultimate Warrior. I think if Hercules was in the company when Ultimate Warrior was WWF Championship, maybe Hercules could have been like a main rival to the Ultimate Warrior, but we'll get to Ultimate Warrior winning the title a little bit later in the WrestleMania line. I think 2 WrestleManias from now. So, yeah, Ultimate Warrior's career ends up good for him, if I say so myself. Next match was Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan, which ended in a double disqualification, which gives Ted DiBiase of whatchamacallit to the final round, a bye to the second round, the final round bye, which means he gets straight to the final round. This match was, I give it 4 out of 10 too, because the way it ended, it was starting to become good until Hulk Hogan hit Andre the Giant with the chair first. The bell wasn't called, but when Andre hit Hulk Hogan with the chair, then they called for a disqualification. Andre should be the one moving on to be facing Ted DiBiase here. But, I'm not going to judge storytelling. By far, the first time they did this at WrestleMania 3, if you haven't watched that video, I suggest you do. They did it much better than they did it here, because it felt so rushed. It just felt, it was 5 minutes. The other one got 10 minutes, and this didn't really tell a good enough story for it to be like a 7 or a 8 or maybe even a 9. But if it went a little bit longer, it could have been potentially another good Andre Hulk match, but that's just my opinion. But I know Andre was very limited at the time, so there's probably not much they could have done. This match was also a tournament match between Don Morocco and Ted DiBiase, which Ted DiBiase won by pinfall. I gave this match a 6 out of 10 because they went back and forth again. I thought told a good story, and ultimately thought it was an enjoyable match. And that's half of the reason why I gave it this high of a scoring. And I thought it made both men look good at the end. It wasn't like the Hulk and Andre where it made both of them look bad. This match told a cohesive story, which ultimately led in Ted DiBiase going to the main event because he got a bye because Andre and the Giant and Hulk Hogan got a double disqualification. I think it did a good job of telling the story of Ted DiBiase getting straight to the final by defeating Don Morocco in a non-cheating way because he came out himself this time. The other matches he had some help. This one he, however, did not, and I think it showed that if Ted DiBiase was given the chance, maybe he could have been that top guy for the company if the right amount of time was put into him, you know? And it's just a shame that he never got the title, even though he was promised it by Vince. A matter of fact, that happened to a lot of people. The next match is a tournament match, and it is Greg the Hammer Valentine and Randy Savage. Randy Savage defeated um, uh, Greg the Hammer Valentine by pinfall. This match I gave a 9 out of 10 to. I thought it was really good, just like the match with Ricky Steamboat and Greg Valentine. I think this one should be remembered as one of the WrestleMania classics as well. I thought it told a good story. It was a good match. It went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And that's what I liked about it. I think it told a great story and deserves to be recognized as one of the best WrestleMania matches of the early four. This match doesn't get talked about as much as the main event does, and I think there's a reason for that. But I don't know exactly why that is. Because this match told an excellent story, in my opinion, and they just worked so well together in the ring. And you'll see later why this all matters at the big finish. Because this tournament was a whole big story for Randy Savage to face Hulk Hogan, basically. So Hulk Hogan could even let someone be successful without getting something from it later on. And that's what I talked about earlier in the video, that this whole show was to set up something for later with Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage. This match was a non-tournament match, and it was for the Intercontinental Championship, where British Beefcake defeated the Honky Tonk Man by disqualification, so he did not win the title. And I give this match a 0 out of 10. Let me explain what was so bad about it. As I told you, this is where the stupid stuff happens, where Brutus Beefcake loses by a disqualification or other stupid reasons like double countout or double this or anything that's not pinfall or submission. Last time I made a mistake by adding pinfall or submission, but listen, Jimmy Hart decked the referee, and instead of continuing the match, Brutus Beefcake knocked the Honky Tonk Man out, cut Jimmy Hart's hair. He cut it mid-match. And while all this was happening, it was all so confusing. It was terrible. It was awful. There's nothing redeeming about this. I can't explain why it was so bad. It's just that bad. It told I can't even say it told a story, because there wasn't one. It was just random stuff, because why not? He's the barber, let him cut hair in the match. We don't want Honky Tonk to get bald, so Jimmy Hart's there. He attacked the referee. So, disqualification finish. Yay. In a title match. He won the match, but he didn't win the title. That was a stupid way of making the Honky Tonk Man look good. It made Brutus Beefcake look weak because he had to win via disqualification. And that's what happens every time he gets title matches and they don't want him to lose. Count out. He wins by count out, disqualification, or other stupid reasons. It's not cool, and it never was. This match was a non-tournament match. The Islanders, Haku and Tama, and Bobby the Brain Heenan defeat the British Bulldogs, Davey Boy Smith and Dynamite Kid with Coco Beware. I gave this match a 6 out of 10. I thought it told a story, but I just didn't think it was. I thought it went back and forth enough, and overall it was an interesting and almost comedic match. That's why it got the score it did. I enjoyed it a little bit. I thought it was a decent match. It was passable, though, so I gave it a 6. It's no higher than a 6. They won by putting Bobby the Brain Heenan on top of the Dynamite Kid, I believe, or Coco Beware, after attacking him, and that's how they won the match. I thought it was a pretty decent match. Passable, as I said. Just nothing really that interesting happened in it, but it's watchable. Match is the only semi-final match, and it's Macho Man Randy Savage defeating One Man Gang by pinfall. I gave this match by disqualification, and I gave this match a 1 out of 10. I thought it just Macho Man got his butt kicked, and One Man Gang lost by not even hitting Macho Man with the cane. He just hit it around him, and he got disqualified because he had the cane in his hand and was hitting around with stuff. It was a stupid finish, not a very good match, and overall, brought just not watchable. Not watchable at all. But yeah, that's the only nice thing I have to say about it. It's a match. That's the nice thing I could say about it. It's certainly a match that happened. That's the nice thing I could say about this. The only nice thing I could say about this match. Match was a non-tournament match. It was for the Tag Team Championships, where Demolition Axe and Smash became the new Tag Team Champions by defeating Strikeforce, Tito Santana, and Rick Martel. I gave this match a 5 out of 10. I thought it was boring at times, but it was watchable. That's basically what half of this show is. It's watchable. It's decent, but it ain't anything groundbreaking exciting. And this match ended with another Kane spot where they used Demolition's, I believe, slapped Rick Martel with Mr. Fuji's cane to win the tag team titles, while Tito Santana was distracted by Mr. Fuji in the ring and attacked him. Demolition grabbed the cane because of Tito Santana, causing his team the match, and I thought this match was alright, per se, but it ain't something that's all-time classic, in my opinion. I thought it would be better than what it was because it's Demolition and they have some of the best matches in it's Tito Santana and Rick Martel. They also have some very decent to good matches, and that's what I thought was going to happen here, but I was wrong to the wrong to the wrong. Was the tournament final in the main event of the show. It was Ted DiBiase versus Randy Savage. Randy Savage won the match by pinfall to become the new WWF champion. And I thought this match was good, so I give it an 8 out of 10. It happened back and forth. Andre got involved. Hulk Hogan got involved at the end, costing Ted DiBiase the title and celebrating with Macho Man Randy Savage. The only reason why Macho Man became champion was because of Hulk Hogan, basically. And the only reason why Macho Man lost the title was because of Hulk Hogan. And we'll get to that next time on the next review. And this was Hulk Hogan probably at his worst, where he's like, I'm not putting you over because I simply don't want to. And if he did, ultimately, I gave this match an 8 out of 10, like I said. I thought it was good for what it was. I give this whole show a 9 out of 10. This is Comic Cookie 73. Goodbye.